just for the progression to brackets. People play for the fun, and this tournament has absolutely been a lot of fun.
I certainly would concur with that. So, let's see. We have been given the final countdown, and this race is actually underway.
Oh man, I got the final countdown going through my head now. Thank you for that.
Sorry. All right. We have triple bombs to start in Link's house, which is actually really good. Normally in standard mode, you'd be trying to farm bombs for the back of escape. So already having bombs in Link's house, we don't have to be farming for them.
Yeah, that is a great thing to find. Basically, any item they get at this point, it's going to be an easy escape, which of course means they're probably going to get bombs.
Yes, oh! That's exactly what they got!
Commentator's curse kicking in early today.
Okay, then.
And a bomb drop that they can't use. So essentially, that overwrote the first 3 bombs they got, because they can only carry 10, and they just got a 1 bomb drop off the green guard. Wow, this game doesn't want them to have bombs. It's gonna get mixed feelings on bombs, I think.
Apparently so. So in standard mode through the escape sequence, you're gonna need at least 7 bombs. You need, for the blue guard rooms, you need 2 bombs to kill blue guard. The green guards, you only need 1. You then need 1 for the rat, and then 1 for back of escape. So you got 3 mulligans with these.
Yeah, fortunately, if you die, depending where you die and restart, you get different amounts of bombs. So you can't soft lock yourself by running out of ammo, but you definitely don't want to incur the time loss.
Yeah, I actually had to... My race this week, I actually had bombs and ran into that problem in the first guard room and just flat out killed myself because I knew, like, I was going to run out to try to get as little time loss as possible.
Well, finding a second weapon as soon as possible isn't normally that urgent of a priority, but with bombs, I really think that they're going to want to find a sword or a hammer or anything else in one of these chests.
So far, unfortunately, we've only found 10 arrows.
I can stab somebody with one of those, I suppose.
I mean, a bow would certainly be helpful with that. Someone in chat mentioned earlier when we were talking about the two 4 and 2 and 4 and 2 with 5 and 1 and 3 and 3. Both 4 and 2 runners actually won those races. They've already occurred, so there are only going to be 2 tiebreaker spots of people that get into the bracket stage.
So poor Oase has had to be really patient for that green card to get out of the way so we could get the pots. This is really frustrating. So far, Oase has had a little bit better execution with those bombs. Eriphram had to use 1 extra one. Blue guard was kind of running around that chest there. This is one of those things, folks, that you do definitely have to practice, and it doesn't come up that often.
For certain. If you, like, there's a lot of things when you're running Randomizer that you would not realize practice that you would need with, like bombs and escape, or practicing bomb jumps, or, you know, that one time where you're going to get Silverless Ganon.
Well, Silverless Ganon is definitely one of those things that you're going to want to practice, because that's a lot more common than a one-off. And bomb jumps are really valuable, but bombs and escape, this is something that was only introduced for this tournament. Prior to this, you'd at least have a sword every time you did standard mode.
Yeah, and this is version 29 that we're using, and they added it used to be standard mode, you'd be guaranteed a sword, Uncle would have it. And then open mode, the swords would be randomized. They added the option now so that in standard mode, you get the option of either Uncle assured that he will have a sword or randomized swords, which gets us the options that we have here.
Yeah, and it was really rare that in open mode you would ever actually come back into escape without some other weapon. It wasn't impossible, but like I said, unlikely. Really interesting that we get to see these new forced variations. The 10 bomb item specifically was something that was added specifically in version 29 just for this mode to make it really clear to players that that's all you're going to get. Use those 10 bombs.
So in the sewer chest we had Fisher Price My First Shield. We got the small key. Have we seen the map yet?
I don't know if we saw the map.
Okay, so we're still looking out for the map.
I'm sorry, Jax.
No, I was just going to say we're going to see if it's one of these 3 chests. But there it is. Along with $20 and another $20. So go ahead, Tiro. I cut you off.
Not at all. Oase picked up that key rat on his very first bomb. Eriphram had to take the suicide bomber approach there and kind of run into the rat. But they both got it. And unfortunately, Eriphram is out of bombs now. So it's going to have to either find one on the tree pool or the bush crab or buy them when he gets to Kakariko. Never mind.
More bombs in Sanctuary. All right. So from here, the world is the runner's oysters.
Well, I'm always a big fan of seeing the northern Haunted Woods lumberjack area check. What do you think's a good route heading out of here?
So I am by nature a completionist, and I am also very cerebral. So I would be doing I would be going up to Lumberjack Ledge to see if Aga is required that way, which obviously Oasa is not doing. But again, that's his prerogative. So I am always of the mind of trying to get as much information as possible.
Well, finding the shovel there, that doesn't really give you any information, but the 4 bombs on the tree pool, that does. That's the tier 2 tree prize pool. At any given random tree pool, you're most likely to be in tier 2. So that's good knowledge for Eriphram to have. And he also needed the bombs too, in addition to the knowledge.
Speaking of which, we saw that it was only a 10 bomb upgrade on the Lumberjack Ledge. So in terms of whether we need to do Aga 1 or not, we certainly don't need it for that item.
No, but Eriphram giving us the info on what the bush crab is. Red rupees. So we're stocking up on some nice money.
You got a fighter sword in the Blind's hut.
Very nice to pick that up. And of course, more bombs in Blind's hut. Because, of course, what else would you get in this game?
This seed in particular.
This makes me think of all the Zelda 1 randomizers where they go through all of the work, timing enemy kills to get bombs to drop at just the right time. And then this game, everywhere you go, more bombs.
Well, we got something different. We got a heart container in the well.
They're on green mail, so they definitely need more than 3 hearts to make any significant progress.
A fairy in a bottle and a blue mail will help with that too.
You know what? I'm just gonna say like the Triforce is in the next chest, and we could just be done with the scene with this game.
All right. Bottle vendor is selling mirrors today.
Well, the sword I think is absolutely a great thing to find. They could have found a hammer or another weapon, but you're not going to make it too far with bombs. I've seen seeds where they've had bomb starters, and you've had to do like Hera crystal switches with bombs, and it can really, really get frustrating. Sword, they're essentially done with bombs as weapons at this point, but the mirror, I'll point out, that I'm really excited about.
How about a flute?
Both the mirror and the flute. Being able to activate the flute immediately, that's going to make their early routing tremendously valuable. But that mirror, I think there's no better item than the mirror when it comes to efficient, logical routing. And they also have their bottle they picked up, so they can do the full Kakariko clear. The only thing in Light World they'll have to come back for is powder later in the game.
Yeah, and having that mirror, you could actually go ahead and route Magic Bat in, like when you come in for the Village of Outcasts with, you know, when you're doing Jeremiah or Peg Cave or Lunchbox. Like, there's ways you can route it in having the mirror.
The mirror is invaluable for routing. You know, you get early things like Tower of Hera, but of course, just being able to, you know, double up Pod Eastern or Light and Dark Death Mountain, it's Key 45 Graveyard Ledge. It's just everything you do, you avoid so many backtracks. So it's nice to find early. There's a shield in the library. Sorry.
Yeah, so we're not going to need Lumberjack Cave. Oasa was doing something where he was playing the flute right before the screen transition, so he wouldn't need to, so the goose wouldn't actually come onto the screen. But with finding that shovel, Oasa is going to route that in, strike the earth.
Third time, there. Fourth time is... Oh, he's doing this on purpose. Whoa!
We got some boots.
That was a lot of build-up to those boots, too. 5 digs.
All right, we also got a map check while we were finding that footwear. We got crystals at Desert and Hera, and it looked like a blue pendant at Eastern.
Well, they can complete that Hera crystal, provided that the key, the basement isn't required. They still need a fire source, but at this point, you know, just doing the normal South Shore route, you know, just pick up more items makes a lot of sense. Oase maybe, oh, he's going to check the lumberjack spot now that he has the boots.
Right. And actually, to your earlier point about strategy with Lumberjack, this is certainly something that I've seen recently from runners, is that a lot of times in the past, you'd see people just go straight to Lumberjack while they're doing Kakariko. But you're seeing some runners now don't even bother with that check of Lumberjack until they have the boots, because you still need the boots to be able to do Lumberjack.
And that absolutely... Ooh, Master Sword in the Dam. Nice. So far, they have 0 of the 3 items required to get Dark World access. But they're only a lamp short of having Aga Tower access.
We also have an Ether Medallion when you drain the swamp.
Ether's probably the most useful medallion to have when it comes to just killing enemies, but as far as progression is concerned, it's going to be a long time before we know if that's needed or not. Really nice mini Moldorm Cave with sword beams. Much better than if they had to do this with bombs.
Alright, we got a power glove and a heart container. Another heart container, and another heart container. So, Mini Trolldorm Cave holding all the love today.
You didn't mention that they got 3 bombs. You missed the most important item.
Apparently the seed thinks it's the most important item.
Well, at this point, I'm not sure how many triple bombs there are left in the game.
Both runners making use of the flute and boots to take as little time as possible to get to Ice Rod Cave.
This is definitely one of the locations that I think is probably worth arguing. Like, do I want to skip it early on? But if you have the flute and the boots, you definitely do it. And I always say, queuing up the stored fake flipper there coming out of the cave. So he's gonna run on water.
Then there you go. Which will certainly help, because right now you don't have the, because they don't have the Moon Pearl, the fake flipper way of doing this you couldn't do because you can't transition on the screen out of the fake flipper. But as you're seeing with Oasa here, he's having no problems with it whatsoever.
Yeah, I tend to like to use that to get up to the hobo, even though that's a save and quit point, just because it's faster to run. So we see the ledge item is 50 rupees, and he does not have the money for Zora. Meanwhile, Eriphram is sequence breaking the old man. The item, just 20 rupees, that's not valuable, but getting that save and continue point with the flute is a really nice health refill spot.
Yeah, and to your point, Death Mountain is certainly in logic because of being able to use the flute, but because we don't have the dark room, we don't have the lamp, the dark room is considered out of logic. We have a bottle of blue goo on the desert ledge, triple bombs inside a spectacle rock, and a piece of heart outside a spectacle rock. So a lot of nothing so far.
Well, I think the triple bombs there are pretty nice.
I think the seed has given us plenty enough bombs at this point. Although that blue goo on the ledge certainly will be useful when they can get it. Oh, and there's a Moon Pearl.
A Moon Pearl in a Genus cave. Definitely one of the places that a lot of runners tend not to route in. Having the flute and the boots, though, it's a pretty quick check for Oase. Eriphram finding one of the other required Dark World items, the hammer.
That's one of the 2 items in Tower of Hera. We're going to see if we're locked out of the coffee break room. We're not. We got a big key.
So we'll at least be able to finish this dungeon, but we might end up leaving an item behind. Worst case scenario. Not too bad to pick up our first crystal. And with Oase continuing on to this Death Mountain route, he'll be picking up his hammer, and for him, that'll be Dark World access. And yes, unfortunately, chat, this does mean that Aga is dead, and because we have the hammer this time, Aga is actually truly dead, and we don't have to wait an hour and a half to find that out.
Eriphram missing the bomb jump, trying to avoid. Oh, and falls down 2 floors because of it. That's
a tough bomb jump. A lot of times, if you're not comfortable with it, you'll drop down from above, do the vanilla route. With the boots, it does give you 3 times the number of pixels to work with, but even then, you can still miss it.
And the thing is, Eriphram didn't even try. The way that the boots help is that if you bonk yourself into the bomb, that's how you get more pixels to be able to get across. Cause see, like right there, yeah, see, now he bonked himself, and that's how he got across that time.
Yeah, very nice bomb jump that time. If you have the hook shot in the boots, you can get across there a lot easier. And of course, you can always just fall down from above, do it vanilla. Get pendants at Turtle Rock and Skull Woods.
Yes, and we have a very vanilla 5 crystal at Ice Palace and 6 crystal at Misery Mire. And that was green pendant at Skullwoods. Eriphram got Hyper Trolled Arm with one of the pokes, but got it done. And there's the small key, so we do have an item in the coffee break room.
And that's going to have to be a to be continued, because without the lamp or the fire rod, that is fire rod locked, or fire source locked rather. All right, so as Chet pointed out earlier, the hammer opens up all of Right Death Mountain. If they pick up the mitts over here, oase is going to be able to complete the dark side as well. Eriphram is not going to be able to do Dark Death Mountain until he decides to check Aegina's Cave for the Moon Pearl.
Yeah, we're going to start with Spiral Cave, and then we'll probably move to Paradox Cave from there.
Paradox Cave, where left is right, up is down, white is black, hot is cold.
All right, we have 7 items here in Paradox Cave. We have the first 2 in the basement.
Ooh, Moldorm says, I do not want to have this fight.
And that is why I refer to him as Trolldorm.
So, having the hammer, oase can do 3 hammer hits.
There's the Titan's mitts, some drugs.
The lamp, a big 20, and a 5-hour upgrade. That is a 10 out of 10 Paradox Cave.
Absolutely.
That is going to be an advantage for oase when he picks up those mitts, being able to immediately dive in and check the 2 Super Bunny Cave items and find out what the Turtle Rock Medallion is. And just a bomb upgrade on the ledge.
All right, but we are going to see a dip into Dark Death Mountain.
So,
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Eriphram, not being limited by the lack of the Moon Pearl, is also going to get the 2 items in Super Bunny Cave, using the Super Bunny glitch. Don't actually get to see this that often.
Yeah, because if you fall down there, the bunny is no longer a bunny, and you actually have access to your full inventory.
You know, part of me thinks he's doing this only because it's the Metroid sprite and not actually trying to find progression.
Well, let's see if he does find progression. 5-arrow upgrade.
He just wants to have them. Yeah, he just wants the Metroid sprite to be on the screen as long as possible. And I'm going to say +1 to that.
Alright, so Eriphram also seeing the map check for the Dark World. Now here's the, well, okay. Actually, they have the mirror, so this question is valid for you.
Alright.
Do you go back and do you do coffee break before you leave? Ether is Turtle Rock.
I say no. I say you do coffee break if you're low on items later in the game and you're routing in either Ether Tablet and or Spike Cave at the same time. You don't go back there for just 1 item. Eriphram disagrees with me apparently, so we'll get to find out what that is. But since you asked me, not Eriphram, I say no.
Yeah.
Well, I take the bet. I'm sorry. I was just gonna add that this does make more sense for Eriphram not having the Moon Pearl and not having Dark World access the number of locations are more limited than OSA, who can immediately go to Hype Cave, Southern Dark World, Kakariko, Dark World. I mean, the item density equation is completely different.
Yeah, I think that's where I agree with you on the difference. If in Oasis situation, I probably wouldn't be checking it, and I would only do it when I come back up, because I've got other things. I've got a lot more options at this point with Dark World access. But in Eriphram's situation, where he's still looking for the Moon Pearl, I'm okay with what Eriphram's doing. I probably would, if I'm Oasa, I wouldn't bother with Coffee Break Room just yet.
I'd agree. If I was Eriphram, I most likely would make this check. It does make a lot of sense. He's down to this or a Gina's Cave. That sword and the lamp now gives him logical Aga Tower access. So checking anything you can do to avoid, committing 5 or 6 minutes into an Aga 1 play, it absolutely makes a lot of sense. I was looking at it based on what the commentators knew, and OSA opting not to do that. I will ask you a question though, because I missed this. Did Eriphram in Super Bunny State check what the first item was in Hookshot Cave? Was that possible?
He did not. I don't know.
Can you even do that?
I don't know. Honestly, my Super Bunny logic is not up to snuff, because normally I avoid it.
I didn't see the Metroid doing any dashing, so I'm gonna say you probably can't do it.
Alright, Quake is Meyer. We got a bunch of money, more bombs, and a whole lot of nothing in Hype Cave.
So Eriphram, he took the Dark World access here and picked up he took the Dark World access here because logically the Moon Pearl can be in Checkerboard Cave. So he's going to check that on his way out. But we found Desert was boost locked. Not that it makes a big deal because they got the boots so early, but it's always interesting to know.
And certainly Desert is in logic, even though even if Eriphram didn't, we know the Moon Pearl wasn't in Nagina's Cave. It is certainly in logic to be in Bunny State, walk over, and enter Desert Palace with the mirror. So this is certainly within logic that the Moon Pearl could be in Desert Palace.
Yeah, even the vanilla game expects you to use the mirror while you're in bunny form.
Stumpy having a hook shot.
Very nice value.
So at this point, our pedestal seed index is pretty much already on life support because of the way these are set up, or Turtle Rock and Eastern being 2 of the 3 pendants. Basically, it's flippers. It's either flippers or Quake Medallion are pretty much the only 2 things that can be on the pedestal at this point.
Yeah, flippers, Quake, or something like Powder that leads to flippers or Quake. As far as mandatory items, you can always find things like silvers there.
Let's put it this way. Items that chat would want to be hyped about because this means it's a pedestal seed.
That's a really good way to do it. Things that actually the players would bother picking up.
All right, so nothing in Peg Cave so far. Haven't seen really anything in Desert Palace either. Someone in Blast Egg in chat saying he's hoping for a rodless seed. Last night we had a race that was determined because the big key was in a fire rod locked location, and the fire rod was on Sahasrahla green pendant.
Well, I've seen that fire rodless seed, And you can bomb jump right side Ganon's tower to get past those 4 torches with just the lamp.
Yeah, it is possible. It just came down to the one runner that didn't have it was having so many problems with that bomb jump, just couldn't get it done. But back to our game, Eriphram has the crystal, and we have $300 of the chess game.
Well, I'm hoping that oase goes into the Thieves' Town. No reason not to, with the ability to full clear it. And Eriphram will probably... I don't see any reason why he's not going to immediately check a Gina after Checkerboard Cave. This is kind of the standard desert area routing. So he'll pick up his Moon Pearl, and he'll be back on track.
Yeah, I have to imagine Aegina's Cave is next. Just more bombs in Checkerboard Cave.
Eriphram hasn't actually lost any time from these decisions. Even got the Super Bunny items through that minor glitch, so hasn't had to backtrack anything at all.
Alright, Eriphram gets the Moon Pearl. We have a 5-bomb upgrade in Thieves' Town with Oasa. And there's the big key, because it has to be one of the first 4 chests to get through the big door.
Yeah, the only other spot I think Eriphram could have gotten to was Zora. So it's nice to get that Moon Pearl. Oh, and the Bonk and King's Tomb, which I guess he didn't do. Oh, poor oase. Really tried to set up that God Pixel dash and got hit 3 times. You can't force the God Pixel. That's just the way it works. So Eriphram not able to clear Skull Woods unless he picks up the Fire Rod, but making a dip into here just to check the front of the items. Could always get lucky and find the rod in here. Just a big key in the first chest. Down to the Pot Prison Room. And there's our big key, so we'll at least be able to check one more chest on this side, the big chest, and then the chest in the middle. And then everything else is going to be Fire Rod locked. Really front-loading all the keys here. Very nice bomb jump. The 2-pixel bomb jump without the boot dash. And that's the first item in Skullwoods, full heart container. And unfortunately, we lost a couple minutes of oase's stream, but there was an item there in the Thieves' Town big chest. I don't know if he's on his last item or what he picked up upstairs, or at the maiden chest, but hopefully it wasn't big progression.
Alright, Oasa's already into the first phase of Blind. Apparently there was a red mail was one of the items in Thieves' Town that we missed.
Oh, yeah, he's wearing that, so that's kind of clear. Eriphram picked up one item in Skull Woods, and the other one is Fire Rod locked. So he's heading down into the Village of Outcasts.
And we got a bottle on Bumper Cave, so imagine we won't be coming back for that.
Probably not. Eriphram does have 2 bottles at this point. Obviously, he still has to pick up 1 other bottle, and I think 2 is definitely enough, especially if they're going to be picking up red mail. Oh, Oopsie fell down the wrong hole.
Yeah, the one thing about this bumper room is the randomizer will not intentionally soft lock you out of a room because of not placing keys in the wrong place. So because of that, room will always have a small key in it.
Yeah, Skullwoods was really front-loaded with keys, so there's just that one item, the big heart container in the big chest. But we gotta look at King's Tomb. That was just a small heart, and more bombs in the graveyard ledge. I really feels like this sea has more triple bombs than it's supposed to.
Yeah, for those in chat talking about the fact that there was no music there, I've actually had that happen before, where if I get wall mastered, sometimes the music will cut out, but then as soon as you leave the dungeon, the music starts back up as it has now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's weird, and it's just one of those many weird things about this game. And I always say, having a lot of trouble here with these Gibdos. No fire rod, no arrows, no boomerang to stun them. Just has to avoid them or take a lot of sword slashes to kill them.
And Oasa may hit the same choke point that Eriphram did without the fire rod. There's for certain one item in the back, but we won't be able to get to it until the fire rod. Technically 2, because the green pendant is also back there on Mothula.
That's a good point. It'd be interesting to see whether they decide to actually go there. Until they're really forced to by lack of other progression, probably not worth the trip up there.
Yeah, usually in Randomizer, Zelda Randomizer, you're going to focus on crystal dungeons, and you really only do pendant dungeons until you have to. And with being at a point where we're locked out of the rest of Skullwoods because of the fire rod, these runners are not going to even think about going back there until they even have the fire rod.
Yeah, I think a lot of the routing is going to depend on where they find the bow. That's probably going to be one of the deciding factors. Turtle Rock, fortunately, is Samaria locked, and because we know that, I mean, it's unlikely that I think anything is going to be in Turtle Rock.
You say that?
Well, I'm saying that I'm looking at the other crystals, and I'm saying that by the time they get Samaria, hopefully they'll be in a situation where they'll be able to go mode it.
Yeah, no, I get you. It's just, it's sometimes comical in version 29 where what out of the way places the version 29 randomizer decides to put stuff. The thing is, to your point about being Samaria locked, it's also possible that we can be locked out of Turtle Rock by the fire rod, because you need 2. Okay, we got silver arrows and a cape in the mire shed. But you need 2 small keys in the first 4 chests of Turtle Rock. There was the red mail in the attic.
Right.
You need 2 small keys to get past the first floor in Turtle Rock. And 2 of those chests are hidden behind the room that is locked by the fire rod. So if you don't find 2 small keys in the first chest and the chain chomp chest, you're also going to be locked out of Turtle Rock by the fire rod.
Yeah, I was definitely getting ahead of myself a little bit there, thinking about where they could get locked out. There's a lot of content for them left to do. At the moment, we have OSA clearing Desert. This is going to pick up his 3rd crystal, while Eriphram does the same thing with Thieves Town for his 3rd. After this, Eriphram still has to do the southern Dark World trip and pick up the hookshot, but otherwise they're pretty much on item parity. So where do you think the next logical deep progression place is going to be? I'm going to say Palace of Darkness.
Yeah. Because realistically at this point, you've got Pod left, you've got Pyramid Ledge, you've got Catfish. Neither runner has checked Zora, and they have plenty of money to do Zora.
Yeah, I'm changing my mind. I don't know why I said Palace of Darkness. I just saw Silver Arrow, and I forgot No Bow. I'm going to say Swamp Palace.
You can't do Swamp without the flippers.
The flippers, man, I feel like I have my own mental tracker, and I'm not. All right. You commentate. I'm just going to sit here and think for a few minutes.
Nah, you're doing fine, Tiro. Believe me, I make plenty of mistakes myself. But Eriphram does have Blind Down. I mean, honestly, like, I agree with you. I would say at this point, I agree with your original decision. I would say certainly from here, I would be heading over to Pod. I'd be doing Catfish. I'd do Pyramid Ledge, Catfish, and Zora. And then after those 3 checks, I'd be heading for Pod. I think
Pod is the best play. You have the flute, so you can make a really quick trip to the potion shop and pick up a potion if they're out or they need another one. And I would just assume going into Pod that you're going to sequence break the Bowlock section to at least get 4 out of the 5 or 5 out of the 5 items, depending on whether one's on Helmasaur. If you go in the Pod, you go in there knowing that you have an alternate option to the bow. In that case, I think that's probably a good play.
Oasa has Lambo down. Because of the way Oasa did his routing and was coming from the south, I don't think he's done Lunchbox yet. And that's actually something that Eriphram I would imagine would do after turning in Jeremiah.
Yeah, chat points out Hookshot Cave, and I'm thinking about this a little bit. Eriphram did the basement of Hera, so got that out of the way. OSA can do the 3 items in Hookshot Cave, as well as basement of Hera and Spike Cave now. So that's 5 items. That might be enough to make that trip worthwhile.
Oh no, Oasa, you don't have the flippers. Don't go into Swamp House. You're not gonna get in.
Wow, we are all making this wrong Swamp House play today. Me,
and actually,
Twitch
I think
chat,
he just realized.
And the runners.
I think he just realized it.
I feel better. It wasn't just me.
Yeah, he realized his mistake, and I imagine he's now headed for at least the pod area. We'll see if he does Pyramid Ledge and Catfish.
Swamp absolutely feels like the right play right now. I mean, you have the mirror, you have the hook shot. Based on the equipment you have, that's the most item dense location. It just feels the right place to go. Flippers is one of those things too that I think so many people, you know, they sequence fake flippers that it kind of becomes habit. You're not going to need it.
We got a Cane of Samaria on the Pyramid Ledge, and actually, as I've been thinking about it, I just realized I don't think either of the runners have been to Eastern at all yet.
No, your audio just broke up there for a minute. You might want to say that again.
I don't think. Yeah, sorry, I'm having technical difficulties with my computer. I don't think either runner's been to Eastern or Sahasrara yet.
No, they haven't been. They can get the 3 items of Sash, obviously, and in the dungeon with the lamp now, they can get at least 2 items in Logic. But it's pendant Eastern, so probably not really up there on the list of priorities. But it would be nice to combo with Palace of Darkness. I think in this tournament, since the potion glitch was introduced as... Oh my gosh!
Catfish holding out the flippers on us.
That's like semi-vanilla flippers. It's from a fish. Well, what I was saying was that in this tournament with the pod potion glitch, you know, being made made allowed and it being so easy to do, I think that if you go into Palace of Darkness with the expectation that it's going to be bow-locked and you're going to do that, it's a really good play because you know you're at least going to get some items.
Chat pointing out that it's the wrong fish this time that's giving us flippers.
Well, I'd rather get free flippers than 500 ruby flippers.
This is true.
But I always say didn't even check Zora after picking up those flippers. So doesn't even care what the vanilla item is or what Zora's going to have. Yeah, Zora having Quake. That would be awesome.
So Oasa is committing to this Swamp Palace play now that he actually has the flippers. And to my earlier point, neither runner being to Eastern, we're seeing the 3 items in Sahasrara's closet and nothing much there. We'll see if Eriphram commits fully and goes actually into Eastern Palace or Pod.
Well, I love this swamp play. It's one of those things that there's half magic. That's nice. It's one of those locations that so many people have this psychological barrier against going into swamp, you know, with the hope that they can go mode it, that it's not so much of a gamble, especially when it's a crystal and 80% of your time in here is stuff that you have to do anyway. I like getting it done early, and there's a lot of items, and it's a crystal, so why not do it? And that is a bow-locked Palace of Darkness. What do you think about that, Jeff?
That's good news for Eriphram. Otherwise, he'd be sinking a lot of time into Pod, when we pretty much know flippers at get the word out. Flippers at Catfish leading to Swamp is certainly what it looks like at this point.
See, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think that you go ahead and you get all the items that you can because the flippers could be in Palace of Darkness. I mean, you could have bow in one of these rare one-off locations and then flippers in Pod. I like to get the items while you're there. But picking up the red cane on the pyramid, so that brings him to item parity, and most likely will also be heading up to do catfish and pick up his pair of flips. And this is our first look at what the mushroom item is, I believe. I didn't see if oase28 turned in or not, but it's my first look at 10 arrows.
Yeah, I think he went straight to catfish. I don't think he did turn in the mushroom.
Not a bad decision. A lot of players will wait until they have the cane or the powder in case they need that mushroom for a fake powder. So I wouldn't be surprised if oase28 does a save and quit and then turns that mushroom in. Really, really nice Argus fight. Those poke dashes strats with the Master Sword are very hard to do. Yeah, I have to say wow to that fight. That was a really nice, really nice fight with the Master Sword.
Yeah, using kind of the transition from the Master Sword hook shot to Master Sword and using the pokes to take out the puffballs, certainly I have never seen that before.
I don't know if I've ever seen it done at the Master Sword level. I've seen it, with tempered or butter, but not a master. Eriphram gonna give us our Zora item. And really, if this is Quake, that's just gonna be so awesome. Alright, what do you got, you big fish? The book. A soggy book.
Well, instead of Quake, it's the item that gets you all of the medallions except Quake.
Nonetheless, that is something that really oase28 could have picked up when he was doing catfish. If Eriphram does head down to Swamp Palace, he's going to be able to do bombos at the same time without a backtrack. And if Eriphram heads back up to do Hookshot Cave and Spike Cave, he's going to be able to do Ether at the same time. So, really does make sense that he picked that up. That could change things.
And in terms of the pedestal, at this point, it's Quake Medallion or bust.
So I don't know whether there are 1 or 2 items over here on left side swamp, but oase28 being thorough and just making sure that he gets all 6 items. But swamp did not have any progression here. It was just capacity upgrades and hearts and stuff.
We pretty much just have what the 2 chests on the left side.
Ooh, wow.
Well, Fire Rod is certainly something.
Yes, that is progression. What's this next one? All right, a big 20. But Fire Rod, that is going to give them both Ice Palace and Skull Woods access now. Ice being the crystal means that's your next logical play.
See where oase28 heads.
Well, he did it. Yeah, I think he's going to do a hard reset here if this is not value, because he did a save and quit. So you save and quit, turn the mushroom in, and then if it's not something you want, you do a hard reset, and then you can still fake powder with the mushroom later on. There we go.
And that's exactly what we see.
Yeah, you got to make sure that you do that after it's save and quit. Otherwise, you lose everything. Or save continue, or either way. But all right. So a lot of value there. I always say doing that full clear of swamp and that early dive in the swamp means that I think ice, and it looks like he is headed to ice. Not procrastinating on those potential go mode dungeons led to the progression that he needed.
Oasa is going to head into Ice Palace, which, to your earlier point, certainly seems like the play right now. You can full clear it. You can get the 3 items that are in here. And Eriphram is doing left side swamp before doing Argus, so he'll get the fire rod before finishing the boss.
If you're committed to doing a full Swamp Palace clear, this is the more efficient route. You avoid having to run back. I think the big key was, I forget where the big key was. That might be a little bit of inconvenience, but like I said, this is a good route, and he's gonna be happy with it because he's gonna find that fire rod immediately.
And actually, not having the bow or silver arrows, fire rod will actually help you in terms of getting second phase of Argus done.
Alright, so chat reminds me that the big key was an Argus, so he is going to have to run back here to open that chest, but not that big a deal. That's, as long as you don't find, as long enough you don't have to go on the left side, it's not that long of a walk. All right, so this is a little bit of a controversial play here from OSA. Doing the bomb jump, if you're also going to full clear Ice Palace, that if you skip the bomb jump and you full clear and you don't find your items till late, then this is slightly slower. But if you find your items early, it lets you have the option of just finishing the dungeon rather than looking for the keys. I think in general, it's probably good to just do the bomb jump. But if you have difficulty with it and you're going to full clear, which seems to be the case, then don't do it.
So here's my feeling on it.
Okay.
The first chest we found in Ice Palace is a small key. We also have the Cane of Samaria available, and to me, I think it's faster to do it without the Ice Palace bomb jump, because you're seeing why here. Oasis is going to use that small key and go ahead and do the 3 chests on this side of Ice Palace. And then from there, all you have to do, the only thing left that's in the non-go mode route is the iced tea room. And so from here, you know, having the bomb jump is going to impede you a little bit because you're going to have to go down, come back up, and go around. Whereas having the Cane of Samaria with you, you're going to be guaranteed to find the keys to get through the door the vanilla way. And so just go through the doors, get downstairs, use the Cane of Samaria, and you're good.
It definitely depends on where the keys are. I mean, chat points out too that he's down to 2 bombs. I think if you find the big key, there's bombos. If the big key is in the iced tea room, then that's gonna, you know, be a long trip just to, you know, be able to go downstairs. So pros and cons both ways. I think it's really a personal preference type of thing.
I mean, it certainly is at the end of the day.
But bombos, nice, really nice find in this dungeon. That's going to let him use that on the boss instead of the fire rod, which will give him more than enough fire rod shots to avoid having to do any master sword slashes.
And one thing that... Oh, sorry, I thought you were done. My bad.
No, I was done, and then he found the big key, and I was kind of saying like this is the example of the inconvenient backtrack. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no. So I was going to move on because of the fact that we found the Bombos medallion in Ice Palace. That means the seed intended you to find the fire rod to get in. So it's a good thing that Eriphram did decide to go to do left side and get that fire rod, because the seed intent. Sorry, voice meter screwed up for me there again. The fire rod was needed just to get in here in the first place.
That's a good point, and being a crystal, 100% required. So this is not. There was no way they would be able to go mode Swamp Palace or Ice Palace. They needed everything in here. Well, they didn't need Bombos. I misread the tracker there. It's so small.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and apologize, chat. I use a program for compression on my mic, and it's glitching out on me a lot more than it should, so I'm gonna try to contain... I'm doing what I can to kind of contain the glitches as they happen, but we are seeing Oase head into Cold Stare, knowing he's found all 3 items. He just has to finish the boss.
So, Eriphram, I think, realized that there was an item left in the big chest, and looked like he was going to go back in, but then, decided not to. So, it looks like he's going to check the Hylia item. Probably didn't... He didn't do this earlier, because he didn't fake flipper or anything. And then probably also head to Ice.
So pretty much in terms of go mode,
a bow.
Yeah, we need bow and Quake.
And Quake. And that was a nice Cold Stare fight. I mean, going in there with only 2 hearts. Yeah, you have Safety Fairy, but still pretty clutch.
Oasis trying to decide where to go next. Looks like he's gonna do Hookshot Cave, and he doesn't have the book, so he can't do Ether Tablet.
Well, I was gonna add that, you know, he can do Hookshot Cave, he can do Spike Cave. He still has the item in Tower of Hera basement, but all that said, he's probably going to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, it certainly seems like that's certainly a possibility.
I think you need to just give up on audio compression and get a faster internet connection, my friends.
Alright, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I guess.
Is it still glitching out?
No, it's not glitching, it just sounds completely different.
Yeah, I just completely bypassed voice meter now, and you're just getting my mic unfiltered.
Alright, so OSA is opening Turtle Rock, at least. It's kind of a no-brainer while you're up here. You're going to get a full magic refill in Super Bunny Cave if you head down there. But, is he going to go in? Probably check Hookshot Cave first. If you find your bow or Quake, then you're kind of done.
Alright, well, he's gonna check the other 3 items. He did check the first one with the boots earlier. Ooh. Drop there before checking the first one. Or the last one.
I love when people hook shot across, like they fall like he just did, and he checks the other one out of muscle memory. But Tempered Sword, nice find.
Very nicely done. And yeah, it looks like he is going to go ahead and Dip into Turtle Rock.
So anybody who could have hovered Hookshot Cave could have had a sword progression this entire time. So if we find the ice rod in here, I expect that he will full clear this dungeon just in case it's a pedestal seed, because he doesn't know where Quake is yet. This isn't a dungeon that you want to have to backtrack to, but I probably won't find the ice rod. I doubt it's going to be here. I just don't have that feeling.
We haven't done Eastern yet, right?
No, they checked at Sasha's hut and then found Bo locked the pod, and that was all we've seen. I got a feeling Bo's going to be in Turtle Rock here.
Alright, so the reason I say that is we basically have Spike Cave, Ether Tablet, Bombo's Tablet, Eastern, Turtle Rock. I mean, we're running out of locations.
Yeah, we have Mothula and the Green Pendant. There's 2 items there. I'm trying to think of other ones.
I mean, as we keep listing stuff off, I mean, the ice rod could be anywhere.
Yeah, we have Magic Bat. That's sequence break still.
Well, Oasa is committing to Turtle Rock, and we'll see where what that leads to if it is in here.
I'm pretty optimistic that we're gonna find the Bo here. Bo in Turtle Rock, it just seems to be one of those places that the Bo likes to hide. That's not, a logic analysis or anything. That's just, gut instinct, which means nothing in a randomized setting. But I'm gonna say it anyway.
Nice to get a full heart refill while you're in Turtle Rock when you don't have the powder to switch those anti-fairies to fairies.
Eriphram down to only 2 puffs, but opting to use that blue potion and burn them down rather than do Master Sword Slashes or spins. Hopefully that doesn't come back to haunt him later on when he might need that blue. If we don't find anything in Turtle Rock, I think doing Skull Woods next is probably your best bet. That's 2 items that are very easy to pick up quickly. Eriphram will be able to check the pedestal as well and know for sure whether it's needed. I always say probably not going to head up to Zora. Oh, Butter Sword in Mimic Cave. Very nice.
Realistically,
Alright, so this next Turtle Rock chest is going to be a key, and then there's 1 key on Laser Bridge, so at most 3 more items left.
and we'll have to, it'll certainly be, the decision at this point will be if there's still an item left on Trinex. Because chances are at this point this isn't a pedestal seed if Quake Medallion is... well, I say that and then watch Quake Medallion be on the pedestal.
Well, if OSA finds the Ice Rod, you just finish out the dungeon, because you're not this far in. Like, you don't want to take the risk. But Eriphram, you know, having that book, that lets him check ether while he's up here, which is one more check that OSA cannot do. So Eriphram is going to pick up his Tempered Sword in Hookshot Cave. There's Quake on Laser Bridge.
All right, well, Pedestal is officially dead at this point.
Absolutely. We are just looking for the bow. The bow could still be on Trinex if we find the Ice Rod elsewhere. Alright, so Eriphram is going to pick up his Tempered Sword here in Hookshot Cave. Even if he doesn't go into Turtle Rock, he'll still have at least Tempered, but knowing where Quake is and that Quake is required, he's probably going to also end up with Butter.
Yeah, I mean, to your point earlier, you know, you were saying Bo is probably going to be in Turtle Rock. It is certainly, you're right, just you had the wrong item. It was the Quake Medallion, which gets us to Meyer.
Well, we're going to get our Ether Tablet check over here. This could be the bow, and if it is, let's find out. And it is the small heart container. Okay, so book did not lead to any progression. I'm going to say OSA lucked out on that one because Zora was pretty close to check after Catfish. I think he saw those flippers and just ran for it. So we know that the bow cannot be in Palace of Darkness because Palace of Darkness is bow locked. Even if they sequence break it using a potion, they're not going to find the bow. Our first Meyer item is the bug net. So there's only one item left in here. Either way, they need to clear the dungeon for the crystal. But if they don't find the bow, then we start going to one-off locations. And that is incredibly disappointing. You find the big key in the second chest. That's almost perfect God mode Meyer. You really want to go moded at this point, but you need another item.
Yep, and Swagnet isn't going to cover it.
I think it would be a fair play when you find the big key at that location and you've already found one item, just to hope the other one is on the boss and just go for it.
Oasa thought about releasing the fairy, or maybe he intentionally took a death there.
Well, there's a second item, so this was not a trolley dungeon. And Eriphram is in Turtle Rock now, committed to this. This is going to get Quake for him as well. So at this point, OSA is definitely ahead by a little bit, but this is going to come down to essentially where the bow is, and all of our choices are bad one-off locations.
Honestly, at this point, I'd gamble Eastern. Neither runner has gone into Eastern yet. I'd probably do the gamble of going there and just seeing, does Eastern have French vanilla bow?
Looks like OSA was trying to do the switch glitch there. I thought he maybe had it set up, or that, or he was trying to hit that switch from a big distance. It's hard to tell sometimes. That was definitely an attempt at the glitch, but didn't have it. Yeah, so at this point in the game, Eastern Palace really isn't a gamble. There's 2 to 3 items that they can find, at least 2. But if the third one is on Armos and they don't find the bow, then it's only 2. But all they have at this point is one-off locations. So
yeah, I guess. No, sorry.
No, I was done.
I guess gamble is the wrong word there. It's more of a, like, at this point we're down to 1 crystal and it's pod, and so my thinking is, like, I would probably do pod first or I'd probably do Eastern first, because if it is there, then I just go right to pod and finish this off.
Yeah, I think you probably don't do a pod Eastern combo with the mirror. It's faster just to run up to Eastern. You still flute to 5, but you just go to Eastern in the light world, because if it doesn't have the bow, then you spend a lot of time walking there through the dark world. And if it does have the bow, then you just mirror and flute right down the 5 again.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I like Pyramid Fairy as the next choice, though. I mean, I'm stealing these ideas from chat, of course, but this is a faster check for 2 items.
And it certainly looks like that's what Oasa is heading. Chat suggesting that he'll probably do Fat Fairy to Zora, but I mean, that's probably going to put Oasa off on a path that you don't want him to be on, because we already know the bow doesn't lead to the book doesn't lead to anything.
Yeah, neither the Bombos tablet or Ether tablet are nice to route in by themselves. You might do Ether and Spike Cave. That's still one of the one-off locations, but nothing routes in with Bombos at this point.
I mean, realistically, well, again, he doesn't have the book. If you had the book right now, you probably would have done Bombos once you warped to Dark World, done Bombos, then came back for the bomb. But he doesn't have the book, so he can't do that.
Yeah, we saw Eri check both of those items, so we know that the bow isn't there, but it's something that OSA may still have to do. And it's not in the pyramid.
Nope.
I don't really see Zora as being the next play, though, because that's still a one-off.
Yeah, that mirror tells me he's not doing Zora. He's heading to 5. I don't think Oasa's done pod yet. So he's probably going to go into pod, see that he's bow locked, and then we'll see if he mirrors and goes right to Eastern from there. Yeah,
I think he still has the Sasha items as well. Eriphram checked those when he routed in pod, but this might be OSA's first trip into this area at all. For him, not having been to pod, this actually absolutely makes sense to loop them together. And yeah, he is mirroring, so this will be his first Sasha check. And Eri is done in Turtle Rock. Picked up Quake and is done in the dungeon.
Apparently Kiki didn't want to go with him right away, so no monkeys were harmed in the making of this production. Alright, so he is gonna mirror and he's going for Eastern. We'll see if that bow is in here. Alright, so apparently chat's saying that if you mirror in the maze, that happens and you have to... Oh! Hello! 1 hour, 19 minutes, 30 seconds. oase28 has officially entered go mode. All right, so with that, this is the time that I like to mention to people that there is a game that we like to play when we get up to Ganon's Tower that we're not starting yet. If you would like to participate in the game that we're not starting yet, you need to have either subscribed to one of our 5 speed gaming channels or donated 250 bits to one of those speed gaming channels. Once Oasa finishes off Helmassar, we will then start that game that we're not starting yet.
Checks free.
Ish.
I went AFK for 30 seconds. What the heck happened?
First chest in pod had the bow.
Okay. I thought we went into the pod and found we were bow locked.
Eastern, I'm sorry.
Okay, alright. Alright. Well, isn't that interesting?
We also saw that the monkey did not want to follow Oasa because of the way he mirrored, so he had to go back in the maze to get Kiki to follow him.
Yeah, Kiki doesn't like iframes. Whoa! I thought Oasa was gonna land on the crystal switch for a second there.
It got close.
I don't even know if it's possible to get up there, but that would have been pretty cool.
Alright, I do have to mention, this is the second race in a row that the bow was in a sphere 1 check, and we could have found that bow from the word go.
It's not that bad, though, because neither runner has actually spent too much time looking for the bow. Everything they've done has been looking for their other go mode items, including Quake. That eastern chest was actually the first place they checked that they otherwise wouldn't have checked for the bow. So, kind of wasn't really that big a deal.
True. It's just the irony of the fact that the last race I commentated, the bow was on Desert Ledge, and we waited 1 hour and 15 minutes to find it. And this race, the bow was the first chest in Eastern Palace, and we waited 1 hour and 22 minutes to get it.
Yeah, I'm thinking through this again. The catfish and the pyramid fairy, those were checks that were just for the bow. But clearing Eastern early, that's a lot of time as well.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the way that the runners routed this, I don't blame them for what they did. The same in the race yesterday, because you find early flute, you have the means to go finish Hera. You're certainly going to do that, which then leads you to Eastside Death Mountain and getting to Dark World. It's not that either runner did the wrong thing. It's just, again, the irony of, yet again, the bow is just right there, and it just took a long time for the runners to actually get it.
Yeah, I agree. I think if Eastern was a crystal, they might have dipped in there a little earlier, just in case they could have cleared it. But with it being a pendant, it's hard to justify. I think for most runners, you prioritize in the early game, you go for pure item density, regardless, and then you start going for crystals, and then you go back into item density, and whether that's pendants or overworld, it doesn't matter at that point. It's just items per minute you can check. But I didn't get the timer on that one, but that absolutely was go mode for OSA. Eri, on the other hand, it's not automatic that's going to be where he goes next. So he could check a lot of one-offs. Yeah,
while you were gone, when we found the bow, I did call up the time for go mode with OSA, which was probably I think it was 1 hour and 21, I think is what it was. Eriphram It's going to be interesting to see when he goes to Eastern, because he's already been to Pod. And so you wonder if he's going to do the other one-off locations before heading back to Eastern to actually check it, because he's done Sahasrara, he's done Pod. You know, the chances of him going back there, I think, are pretty slim.
Yeah, I go to get a drink and then I come back to go mode. It doesn't happen often.
All right, well, Oasa has Helmassar down.
Eri is just increasing his lag frames at this point.
And with that, there are 22 locations where that Ganon's Tower big key could possibly be. If you want to get into our guessing game, you need to guess a number between 1 and 22 where you think that could be in the basement of Ganon's Tower. Tiru, what's your guess?
Give me a minute. I'll think about it.
All right, well, while you think about it, I'm just going chest number 1.
I'm going to go with the Ice Armos room. Because Bow is their go mode item, so I want Bow to be required for GT progression. I mean, it's required for upstairs either way, but I want to be required for extra GT progression, so Ice Armos.
All right.
All right, so Eriphram looks like he is going to do the Pyramid Fairy as well. You know, makes sense. We talked about item density. Everything really comes down to how fast does he go to Eastern, but he still has to clear Pod, so quite a bit of catch-up to do.
Jake, we didn't miss it. There is a dash glitch in the Japan version 1.0 of Zelda, where if you do a hook shot at the same time you try to dash on stairs, you get into that dash state.
Yeah, I think what he was saying that we missed was the drive-through, where he got around all of the dead rocks. It's just an impressive skill that we didn't point out.
That is true. And guesses are officially closed.
All right, come on, Ice Armos.
All right, chest number 1. Red shield. 2, small key. Oasa is going to continue right side.
And Eriphram is headed to Eastern Palace, so he's going to be very happy with this decision. Did not spend too much time looking for the bow. Whoops. Locked himself in there.
There you go.
Half magic earning its keep. And that's go mode for Eri.
Number 3, piece of heart. 4, 20 bucks. 5, map. 6, 50 bucks. You gotta be careful there in that room, because the top left chest will always trigger the trap floors, which is why you saw Oasa hesitate and do the top right one before the top left one. And he is gonna go full right. He is doing Ice Armos before going left.
Well, this is a play that you don't typically see. A lot of times you'll just get those right side 4 chests. He dashed to the other room. But yeah, going full right to Ice Armor is not a common play. Chat asking, maybe he feels behind because of where the bow was. that this might just be his style. Maybe it is kind of a gamble.
All right, number 7. $50. For anyone that's new, these numbers are based on the first runner to go into Ganon's Tower, so it will, in the very off chance that Eriphram were to make it while Oase is still searching, it's always going to be whoever goes in first. But with that done, number 8. 10 arrows, 9, $20, 10, piece of heart.
Well, oh well, I tried.
Yeah, it was a worthy guess. All right, number 11. Ice Rod. You never could do try next.
Well, you got a few rage slashes at the ice rod. Just you know, that's what you do when you see the ice rod.
$12, $20, 13, piece of heart, 14, compass, 15, bloomerang.
Nice place to find the boomerang, so you can do the boomerang strats here.
Especially not having any boomerang at this point. Someone in chat asking what is in the Ganon's Tower big chest in vanilla. It is the red mail. There it is! Number 16.
Nice, and uses that boomerang immediately for the cool boomerang swag. Oh, almost got the boomerang dash. You make one attempt at swag and it fails, and then you go to a backup. I like that.
First sub or supporter to guess correctly was the one Azrael with 16. Congratulations.
Azraels, there can be only one. Nice full magic pot. Definitely want to have full magic before you head up to the gauntlet. A lot of these rooms are made easier with the fire rod. Yeah, I apologize for the stupid Highlander joke. Sorry.
From here, it's all a matter of execution. All the randomization is done except for the 4 chests up in Ganon's Tower, but you got silver arrows, you got butter sword, you got red mail. It's just you against the game at this point, trying to finish this off.
Yeah, and Eri heading into Helmasaur fight right now. This will be the last crystal for Eri, and then he'll be heading up to Ganon's Tower as well.
So, oh, there you go.
Wow, just got that. That land mow almost got away.
I know I've been watching Randomizer for like 6 months now, but it's still, to watch these cane strats in this floor in particular, it's just a joy to watch.
They never, ever get old.
All right, Eriphram has making his way to Ganon's tower. He'll be able to save a little bit of time if he decides to go left. But the standard routing for most runners is you go right first, so we'll see if he decides to gamble left side.
Yeah, a lot of people don't go full right though, so it'll be a little bit of time saved by skipping ice armors. Eriphram's taking the slightly slower climb up Death Mountain here. It's slower than using the Turtle Rock portal, but you do get to avoid some dead rocks.
And a very quick Trolldorm 2 kill.
I think if you want to see really impressive Canis Maria swag, watch Christos Owen play. He does like keen dashes on every freaking switch and enemy. Best keen swag in the game.
All right, gets a double there to start on Aga 2. It's at least one.
And there's another double.
So just one more to go. And down he goes.
Yeah, Aga gave him bad positioning on that last one. Oh, Eri is going full left. Nice.
Yeah, at this point, this race is Oasis to lose. Probably be a couple Ganon falls for Eriphram to get back into this.
A sub 140 seed though, that's a fast seed. I mean, decently fast anyway. There's phase 1.
And phase 2 is already done with it only being 6 Butter Sword slashes.
Yeah, there's not much to the fight when you have this much equipment.
Alright, there's phase 4. Gets one arrow to the face. Does get the torch glitch. Ooh, this is a nice setup here. 1, 2. Oh, so close.
Yeah, it's definitely a double there.
But down he goes.
Nice fast fight.
And with that walk into the door, oase28 finishes with an official SRTV time of 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 11 seconds. Spam those GGs in chat.
GG for OSA. That is progression to the brackets. That's a nice way to end week 7. Eriphram, just beginning his climb up the gauntlet right now. Only a few minutes behind.
Yeah, he's still not sub 140, but could certainly do sub 145.
So we'll see if OSA wants to join us. I don't know if he's going to have internet issues or whatever.
Said he is going to join us.
I know earlier he said he wasn't able to use his microphone, so hopefully that issue's been resolved. OSA, welcome.
Hello.
GG.
Thanks for the GGs.
So, chat wanting us to ask you about that Argus strategy that you used to take down the puffballs.
Oh, the almost zero cycle. Well, it's the same principle as the zero cycle when you have the temper sword. You have to hook dash as soon as you enter, holding your sword out. And that glitches you into a state where each puff you hook takes damage. But since you have Master Sword, it takes Master Sword damage. So you have to hook each puff twice.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to get the timing right because you can lose your sword. If you get hit or if you lose your charge, you lose your sword, so you have to dash and try again.
Very good to
But yeah,
know.
It was a nice fight to watch.
Thanks. I practiced that actually.
So pretty much not that hard of a seed overall. It was not a lot of trolley item locations. It, you know, going into Turtle Rock, you know, at least paid off getting the Quake medallion, but overall pretty non-trolley seed, which is unusual considering we're in version 29.
Yeah, but actually I consider bow in Eastern being a troll item because you never expect that to be there.
So
I was actually surprised when I got it in the first chest. But yeah,
yeah, that was nice. Did you? How are you feeling? Like, did you feel on pace, or were you feeling behind at that point?
I was feeling behind when I dipped TR and there was nothing in the front side. I was like, oh man, this is not going to pay off. But I had to stick to it, right?
Oh, it was
and then
required
I got Quake.
for Quake.
Yeah, and then I got Quake, and I was like, well, probably my opponent is not going to deep TR until later, so I might have an advantage now.
Eriphram just finished off Aga 2 and is heading into his Ganon fight right now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it wasn't a hard seed, but actually, I remember I was going into Swamp without the flippers. I was after I got the hook shot. I was so thinking I need to go Swamp, and I didn't even get the flippers before entering.
And then the wrong fish had the flippers. It was Catfish instead of Zora.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Well, I think that, I mean, if you had to pick out one thing that, you know, made a big time savings, it was probably picking up the Moon Pearl as early as you did, gambling at Gena's Cave.
Oh yeah, when I get Flute early, I always check Agina's first because it's such a trolley location, and it paid off. Yeah.
Well, you are moving into 5-2. You've made the brackets, so congratulations on that one. It's the brackets are completely reseeded and randomized, the 128 positions there. So, you know, hopefully you get somebody that's close to your skill level, and you're able to progress a few rounds, maybe even go all the way.
Yeah, thanks. I expect my next matches to be really good, really entertaining, and hopefully I can keep moving on through the brackets.
How do you feel about the tournament in general? I mean, you had 7 weeks. You know, you are finishing 4-2, so you had some good weeks and bad weeks. Any final thoughts on the Swiss?
I'd say it's at the beginning, it was like there was a huge gap between some runners and others. But as the tournament kept going on, the level of matches, like the level of play, became more equal to each other. So the matches were really, really entertaining.
Yeah, Swiss works really well that way, and you know it can be tough at first. Eriphram, finishing up there. I don't have his official SRTV time. Do you have that, Jax?
I do. It is 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 1 second. Spam those GGs in chat.
That is not bad. Only a few minutes behind OSA's time. That was a pretty close race.
Yeah, GG's.
I think Eriphram is going to join us, but he said he just needs a minute, which certainly understandable after that race.
Yeah, you're welcome to you know, hang out in Twitch chat if you want to, OSA, or you can stick around here and chime in a little bit. We are joined now with Eriphram. GG's, man.
No, thank you.
Hey, GG's, man.
Oh, thank you. Congratulations to yourself as well. Well played.
Thanks.
How you feeling?
Oh, my heart sunk when I saw that bow. Otherwise, I thought I did really well just going forward without it.
The interesting thing was that was go mode for both of you.
Oh.
Yeah, neither of you guys got the ice rod.
I saw it and I was like, I don't need that, and I started slashing and just kept going.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Eriphram, it was pretty close, and both of you were kind of behind Oasis pace just a little bit, and it just kind of happened that the way the progression worked out, there was never really a point where there was a wild divergence really until the location of the bow, and both of you pretty much went the same direction to go get it in Eastern.
Yeah, I think, Eriphram, you probably ended up checking a few more locations. Ultimately, you picked up the book, Zora, which unlocked a few locations that didn't have anything. So probably see a little bit higher number there, but ultimately it was fairly similar and kind of a linear seed.
Yeah, I would have to agree. So the book certainly wasted a bit of time for me, and it's just like, well, I can go to this next spot without having to go to Eastern. I don't have a reason to yet.
Oh yeah, that I totally forgot about the fact that Oasis never did Zora and never got the book off of Zora.
Yeah, the biggest thing early on that was a potential was the fact that, you know, it took a while for you to find the Moon Pearl, and OSA had that on the first trip up to Death Mountain, so he was able to get the boots. I'm sorry, not the boots, the mitts. But you ended up doing the Super Money glitch, so both of you ended up having the exact same progression.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So, Eriphram, you know, unfortunately, you know, being in 4-3, it's kind of the end of the Swiss rounds here. I want to ask if you have any, you know, final thoughts on the tournament as a whole. Hope you had fun.
Oh, absolutely. That's the only reason why I joined, just to have fun and play along. And if I want to race, great. If not, oh well. I'm just here for the fun, and I had a blast.
I'm really glad that you did. A lot of us, this was our first tournament, and I'm sure the fall tournament is going to be equally as insane. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap things up? All right. Well, I am going to say GG again to both of our runners for an absolutely very entertaining race, and congratulations again to OSA for progressing into the brackets. There are links in chat to give both of the runners, oase28 and Eriphram, a follow. They've earned it for putting on such an entertaining show for all of us. There are more races going on, so check the schedule. There's Rando starting up at 9 o'clock. Let me check the schedule here just for you guys. I'll make it easy for you.
I've got it up, actually. It's LT Gray versus Devos X on Speed Gaming 3. Actually started just a few minutes ago. Chloe Prower versus Fant is going to be on Speed Gaming 2 at 9.
And we have the Vinyl Knight versus Takazi on ALTTPR Randomizer 2, also at 9 o'clock. So 6 speed gaming channels and 4 ALTTPR Randomizer channels. Last week of round 7, there is still many matches to go. Thank you to our tracker, Oddballs, and the staff of Speed Gaming for doing the restream. That is it for me, Tiru. Thanks to my co-coms, Jex Referee. I always say that wrong. Sorry, Jex.
Jex Referee, it's totally fine. Thanks for putting up with my voice meter banana issues with my mic. I have an application I gotta go uninstall and reinstall after this.
Indeed. So thanks to you for joining us. That's it for me. Any last word for you, and then we'll disconnect.
Nope. Have a good night, everybody.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.